it was a pleasant surprise, and it is obviously a great honour. But I actually had been on a couple of weeks holiday in England at the back end of April, and I was going through the mail when I got home, and there's this letter from the Governor-General, and I thought, wonder why the Governor-General would be writing to me. So I've opened the letter, of course, and it's outlined the fact that you've been nominated and successfully going to become a member of the Order of Australia. And after that, you have to send the nomination form back with an acceptance, or you can refuse to accept the award. Obviously, I was delighted to accept the award, and great honour to work, because he was the doyen and probably is still regarded as one of the greatest commentators across all sports, but certainly as far as cricket's concerned. And as a young fellow, when I started, I was lucky enough to broadcast my first test after about 3 years, which was pretty good. And he did say, just think, this is particularly with radio. Television is a different style, but this is radio, which was his medium and basically has been mine, that you've got a blind person listening. You've got to tell them what is happening, he also said. And I've continually told young commentators who've come to me for advice that the one thing that you cannot do in radio commentary is give the score too often, because nothing frustrates me more if I switch the radio on and after a couple of minutes I say, "What's the score? Tell me the score." That he reinforced that in my mind from a very early age, and that was fantastic advice. One more point each and they'll be equal. And when the scores are like 88-56, brother, thank you, Harry Beitzel. Jack Cameron, the great scorer from used to do the cricket. One day, might have been a Shield game, and say it was Stackpole and Redpath batting for Victoria, and he just said out of the corner of his mouth, or wrote it down, "One more run each and they'll be equal." And I've gone, what? Now, so they were both on 24. So, and I've fallen for it. And I said, one more run each and Stackpole and Redpath will be equal, and then I've realised what I've done. So I thought, no, I like that. So when the footy comes around, so for a long period of time I'd broadcast to 6PR in Perth, and they used to love it over there, but at one stage someone, I think I listened to one of a colleague, Brad Hardy's mates, said, "Tell Smokey he's only allowed one a game." So, but there was a moment at the Sydney Olympics, obviously I think as good a sporting event that has ever been organised. The Sydney Olympics, and I've been on air, and I'd been on air for about 15 or 20, just on my own, when the little man jumped out with the red disc and said to Jane Saville, "Sorry Jane, you're disqualified. You've lifted 3 times," or whatever it was. And that was like, but I could see it coming, and I knew it had to happen, because a couple of days before I'd broadcast the men's 20k, and the guy from Mexico had actually crossed the line first and was then subsequently disqualified. And the race was in the morning, but it was like finishing at about 11 o'clock midday or something. And I knew that and the stadium was full, 80,000 people. So if Jane gets in, crosses the line and gets disqualified, you can imagine what the 80,000 people would be like. So it's certainly something I really, really enjoyed. Ken Davis, in those days, I think the board liked to have someone from within the media structure on the board, maybe to help them with anything that came up in that area. and for whatever reason, Ken Davis, who was a print man more than anything, he perhaps suggested me, so off I went. Again, make a contribution, but obviously sport was a winner with me, just the love of it, and what I thought was what Vicsport was trying to do, and encompassing and the physical activity and encouraging everyone at all levels to be involved in the right way and to help organisations that were doing all of this sort of thing. So it was a no-brainer for me. Wonderful. I mean, Anne-Marie was my first CEO, and she moved over and established the Institute of Sport in Scotland, and I bumped into her. She came back for the Sydney Olympics. I bumped into her again, match, and then she's come home to run the Victorian Institute of Sport. Julie was fantastic, Kate was fantastic, and obviously Mark is brilliant. So I must have known something that he was going to come on the scene, because I retired before he did. No, Mark, only joking.